Hey everybody!
Hello!
Welcome back to another Power Trip Gaming Retrospective.
Another one.
We have a very good one today.
Yes, we do.
We are going to be doing Mega Man 2. An utter and complete classic.
It is a classic. It is an all-star of the system. It is a classic in...
Go on. What's wrong with you?
I lost my thought.
It is Capcom.
It is a classic of just video games in general.
Absolutely. When you think Mega Man, this one's one of the ones that just comes right into your mind. Like, if you mention Mega Man to anybody, chances are more people have played this than any of the other ones.
And it's so funny. It always seems that the great debate is what was the best Mega Man game of all time? Was it number 2 or was it number 3?
It's true.
Because there always seems to be people in either one of those fields.
Yep. It's never, they're both great. No. One is
better
than the other.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, and it's usually never, yeah. But it took the original formula of Mega Man 1 and made it even fucking better.
It did.
And more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Mega Man 1, I honestly never knew there was a Mega Man 1 growing up. I only thought there was a Mega Man 2 and a Mega Man 3. So...
What, were you stupid?
I thought
2 and 3, but no, there's obviously not a 1.
Well, I thought it was like a Goonies 2 or a Gremlins 2 kind of situation where I didn't realize that the first one was ever here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this one was just so much better. It was so much better than the number 1, in my opinion. I mean, it was easier, but that didn't make it better. It's just, I felt the music was, well, fuck it.
Well, okay.
You're chasing down Dr. Wily.
Yes.
It's a Mega Man plot.
Little history. Game was released in 1988.
There you go.
And it was developed and published by Capcom. Capcom was one of the juggernauts of the Nintendo.
Still are.
They still are. They're still doing everything. They're still one of the biggest video game developers and video game publishers in the video game industry. But they really... They got a lot of their start on the Nintendo, and they just really just hit the ground running right from the start.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great game. 1988. The game features 8 boss levels, but then I think 4 additional levels. So it's like more like 12 levels, 13 levels in the game because of the Dr. Wily stages.
I think it might even be more than that in the Dr. Wily stages.
Maybe.
And I think there's like 5 or 6. I don't really remember.
No, I think there's the 2. There's the 2 extra, the skulls.
Well,
there's
you got the
3.
dragon. You got the room with the crash bomb things. You got
the smaller room with the walls coming at you.
Yep, with the walls. Then you got the Mega Man robots. Or the Robot Masters again.
Oh, yeah.
And then, well, so yeah, it kind of is only 4.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you get 3 lives. But you have unlimited continues, and there is a password feature for the game as well, too. So, I mean, you can come back to the game anytime you want.
Mega Man 1 didn't have passwords, did it? I don't really remember.
I don't believe it did.
So, Mega Man 1, you had to play
It had unlimited continues, but it did not have a password feature.
Okay.
No.
So, what made this game great is, I mean, in the original Mega Man, you only fought 6 Robot Masters. Mega Man 2, they upped it to 8.
And it became basically the staple going forward in the Mega Man series. It was
Pretty
always
much.
8.
Always hit 8, and then you do the staple Wily stages that are...
Or Cossack.
Or Cossack if you do 4, or Dr. X, or Mr. X, or whatever the fuck it was in 6. Like, it just got more and more crazy as it went on. But, I mean, this one pretty much, I would say, set the standard for future titles.
It really did.
So with that, we'll get into it.
So we'll get into it.
We'll go for difficulty. To me, personally, this is probably the easiest in the franchise.
It is.
This game, to me, gets, like, a 4. Maybe a low 4? I would say it's a lower 4. Because, to be honest, all you need is the fucking metal blades, and you tear ass through this game.
So I gave it a 4 as well, too, for difficulty. Holy shit.
I mean, the stages are not hard.
Well... See, and that's where I think that the only difficulty really comes from is that some of the boss characters in the game and the robots they can be pretty tough. Crashman in general is actually he's pretty tough.
Crashman with only Buster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even
Woodman. Woodman is a little bit tough too. Quickman, his stage is actually pretty treacherous too.
True. That's true.
But while they are somewhat difficult, I think that some of the stages are actually like the platforming aspects of it, very fair controls, but some of the platforming aspects of it can be pretty tricky. So that's why I gave it that 4. I don't think
that's a good point.
I don't think it's easier than a 4, but it's definitely not harder than a 4.
No, it's not. It's a little bit easier than middle of the road.
And then the fact that that you have unlimited continues, lives and stuff like that are inconsequential. Actually, it's more valuable to find an E-tank because then you can continue on where you're at. But I also think too that the level of difficulty of this game was definitely affected by Mega Man 1.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Capcom knew that they had made a game that was really difficult, and so they said, okay, we don't want to alienate people, we want to come back out with this, so we got to make it a little bit easier so that people aren't put off by how difficult the game is.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like they overcompensated for that, and it created this game that was just kind of really super easy to me, but...
Well, and that's funny, because even with that 4, now that I'm thinking on it, there really are some very hard parts to this. I mean, you have that boss that you need the perfect amount of crash bombs for.
Oh, yeah.
That route. And then if you die somewhere in there, you gotta farm to get those crash bombs back.
Flame Man's Heat
Man
Man stage with all the platforms and stuff, the disappearing blocks and stuff
Without
like that.
item 2,
that
that's
can be
tough.
pretty tough too. Yeah.
Quick Man stage is notorious.
Mm-hmm.
The laser beams that shoot out the sides that are instant kills. I mean, really...
Yeah, no, it does have some hard aspects of it.
There are definitely hard, especially in the Wily Castle. There's a lot of very difficult spots.
Yeah.
Even, like you said, some of the Robot Masters are very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Woodman, with just your standard buster, it's hard as shit. Because there's a lot of attacks that really are unavoidable.
But that's how I battle.
I know, that's how you roll.
Just with
Just the buster.
Mega Buster.
Which, I mean, it's...
Mega Buster!
But they also included a normal and a difficult version for this, which is also worth noting.
Mm-hmm.
Normal is like pussy version. Your buster does so much damage to the Robot Masters, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then difficult is actually how the game was designed. Because in Japan, it's only difficult. There is no normal option. That was something that was created only for us in America.
Yeah.
But even on difficult, like I mentioned...
It's not hard. It's not that much harder, yeah.
So usually in Mega Man games, at least from the rest of the franchise, usually one weapon works on one other enemy. And that's it. It still works on the others, but it's more or less the same as your buster. That's not true for the second one. Metal Blades will work on like 4 different bosses. Metal Blades work on Metal Man, who gives them to you. He's literally a one-hit kill.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't understand that one.
They work on Bubble Man, which it's like 2 or 3 will kill him. They work on Wood Man, which is
that
like,
one makes sense. That one actually does make sense.
That one does make sense.
Yeah.
I want to say they work on one other guy, but I don't remember who. It might be Flash Man. I don't know.
It's Flash Man, yeah.
But holy shit, it renders some of the other weapons just utterly useless.
Mm-hmm.
The bubble, well, no, the bubble works on Heat Man. Heat Man's weapon works on Wood Man, but why? Why would you even want to? Atomic Fire is such a pain in the ass to fucking use, because if you get hit, you shoot it, so it's hard to charge it up all the way to hit Heat Man with a fully charged shot. I don't think I've ever used Heat Man's weapon. The Atomic Fire, I don't think I've ever actually used.
Yeah, I don't use it that often.
Quick Man's boomerangs, I only used on the dragon and some of the enemies throughout the stages. So it's like, and Flash Man, you could have done without his time stop entirely.
Pointless.
You can't fire while using time stop, which ended up being detrimental to parts, because if you're like, oh, I'll use it to stop the enemies to get on other platforms. No, sometimes you stop the enemy right in your trajectory and then you just hit him. Yeah. Metal Blades made everything easier in this game, and I feel like that's where the only real fault of this game is the fact that Metal Blades almost cheapened the experience. But
that's true. I still think that as far as difficulty, like, you can make it as difficult as you want to make it.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to use the items that you acquire.
That's true.
Most of the time, I actually just beat this game, like, I use straight Mega Buster. Like, I don't use anything outside of some of the other items. I do use Airman to beat Crashman because Crashman is freaking tough.
Crashman's rough as hell.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, the difficulty you can really make it more difficult if you want to, just by not using the special items, which I really like about that aspect of the game, and I've always liked that about the Mega Man games.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that you could always kind of make it more difficult. So. But as far as difficulty, yeah, there's some tricky platforming aspects of it, but the game is probably the easiest one of the entire Mega Man series on the Nintendo.
You're very well equipped to deal with anything they throw at you.
Yeah.
So it's really not that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to fun. You want me to go first?
If you want.
I give this game a 9. This, to me, is hands down the best game in the series. The music, to me, is some of the best, not only in the franchise, but on the NES. The music, to me, is phenomenal. I could whistle these songs all fucking day. And to me, even in just if you're narrowing the scope to the franchise, it's the best in the franchise. Mm-hmm. I love the soundtrack to Mega Man 2. It's incredible. Graphics are, typical Mega Man affair. Every level does feel different. Just the game overall is such a fucking enjoyable experience, as they all are. Mm-hmm. But to me, this one, boom, this one set the standard, and I absolutely fully fucking adore this game.
I do. I agree. I gave this game an 8 because in the great debate of what was better, Mega Man 2 or Mega Man 3, Mega Man 2 for me was that one. I think that this is the one where they literally caught their stride. They knew what they wanted to do. It was top-notch music. The graphics were fantastic. I always loved the bright 2D sprites. Every environment felt like its own unique area. Like Woodman stage was in the forest, and Airman stage was up in the clouds. It's like everything was just so cool. And no matter how bleak is the wrong word, but it's like there's certain areas of like Cloudman stage when you really boil it down, there's really not that much background stuff going on, but because there's clouds like in the background and in the foreground too, like it feels like they're using so much more than what they're actually using.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you said, with the music, this was the one that this had a kick-ass soundtrack from start to finish. Every single level had some kind of fantastic music where it's one thing for most games have like one level that's the standout track, like that's the one that you always remember. DuckTales was that way with the moon. That's the one that it's like, yep, that's the one everybody's going to be humming. But with Mega Man 2, it's almost as if every single track was that one song that it's like, yep, that's the good one. That's the one. It's like you literally had every single song in the game was just a standout track.
Absolutely.
It was incredible. Yes, it has the best music on the Mega Man series on the Nintendo, but it actually, I would almost say that it's probably one of the best of the entire Mega Man franchise. Like they hit every song with such quality that it was just, it's so good. I still hum those songs to myself.
And the reason I feel that way is like I've played all the Mega Mans. In some of the later games, it almost feels like all the songs have they feel the same, like instrument wise. Mm-hmm. If that's not really a thing, but Mega Man 2, like all the songs sounded and felt different. Mm-hmm. Like just from Heatman's stage to even Flashman's stage, like everything just felt different and just it was so well composed. Mm-hmm. Such a great fucking soundtrack, man. That's why this game gets a 9. The controls are tight. The weapon powers are fucking awesome.
Controls have always been tight. Always been responsive.
The only real time they're not is, do you remember when you fly up and fight that dragon where you have that weird sliding?
Yeah, there's the one brief period, like the one brief second where it's like things stop and then it's like, I don't know, it can kind of screw you over.
It almost feels like they tried to compensate for object limit.
Maybe that's
but
what
at the same time,
the dragon was so big.
Yeah, but the background was black and all there was were white blocks.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because of the fact that the screen was scrolling and he was animated?
Well, it's because because it was a free moving screen, but then all of a sudden it started doing it automatically started scrolling. Yeah. So maybe they couldn't make that transition.
Maybe not.
So.
But that's like the only time you ever really feel that. In some areas and some of the levels felt that way, but otherwise the game controlled great.
It did. And it's hard to believe because, I mean, when you really think about it, Mega Man 2 didn't really add anything to the Mega Man series.
No.
Like, it didn't add anything new, with exception to, instead of 6 boss robots, it was now 8. And then that became the standard. But as far as Mega Man's abilities, you couldn't charge up your shot, you couldn't slide, you couldn't do anything else that they started then building onto with each successive game.
Yeah.
But honestly, it didn't feel like it needed to do that.
Not at all.
This game was fantastic. Great music, great. I always have so much fun with this game. I can always come back to. I've beaten this game. I don't know how many times. But yet, if I had to choose to go back to any Mega Man game, it would always be number 2.
Absolutely.
Hands down, it would always be number 2.
Yeah, this is a game I could plug in today, and I would still love the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I could still enjoy it beyond words.
And of course, the NES Classic Edition, when it came out, it had 30 preloaded games on there, and of course, Mega Man 2 had to be on there because it is one of the standout titles on the system.
Oh yeah,
and
it's a staple for the system.
And I still think that Mega Man 2 that really was when they hit the pinnacle of the series on the Nintendo. That was the absolute height of where it was.
Which is actually, if history has proven anything, that's kind of odd for the NES. Usually the sequels are not great.
It most certainly was. And Mega Man actually, now that you mention it, Mega Man was the odd man out, which actually stuck to their guns. Because you had a lot of the number 2s where they said, nope, it's got to be a different game. We don't want people to get stale with the idea. We don't want them to think that they're playing the same game.
Zelda, Mega Man.
You just said Mega Man.
Or, I'm sorry, Zelda, Mario,
Castlevania.
like all the games were different.
Yeah, all these games that were different that had just completely drastic, differently number 2s.
I think Power Blade 2 even felt and looked a lot different than its predecessor, even with the Power Blade suit.
Yeah.
The way you acquired it, the game was different mechanically than it was in the original.
But Mega Man was like, nope, you know what? I think we've got a tried and true formula, so you know what? We're just going to stick with it. We're just going to do the same thing. We'll try to add a little bit more to it, but we're going to go on. We're going to make the same game. And honestly, they put their chips on it, and it paid off. Yeah,
blew up.
It blew up.
And they're still successful. I mean, they're still pumping out the classic games. We got 12, or was it 11? I'm sorry. 11 coming out in October.
Yep. But they're still releasing the Legacy collections and stuff. They're re-releasing 1 through 8 and 1 through 10 or whatever. Yeah, they did Mega Man 10, right?
Yes, they did.
They actually did a 10.
Not
X. They did a 10.
They did a 10. Yes.
But yeah, they're still pumping out these games because they know that, I mean, people are still very much in love with them, and they are still some of the highest quality games that are on the Nintendo.
Absolutely. In fact, I'd say there's a lot of clones of Mega Man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Creon Conquest essentially was Mega Man. I mean, this is Battle Kid, even though that was, homebrew.
Battle Kid was definitely inspired, or the inspiration came from Mega Man.
Yeah.
For Battle Kid.
This run and gun formula is pretty much been replicated for a long time. Yeah. And Mega Man is beautiful. I mean, it's pure gold.
Oh yeah.
This to me is one of the best games out there.
Absolutely.
So we'll move on to price. What did you pay for Mega Man 2?
So for Mega Man 2, when it breaks down, I bought Mega Man's 1 through 4 on eBay. I paid $32 for the 4 of them, so it breaks down to about $8 I paid for this game.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So, as of this video, price chart...
Actually, I stopped that. Because Mega Man 2 was the first Mega Man game that I actually bought. And so I actually bought it by itself before I ended up buying the lot because I didn't have 1, 3, and 4. So that's why I bought the lot. But originally I did pay $14.99 for it. Back in 2003.
PriceCharting.com
Thank you.
Has Mega Man 2 going for $20. That's it.
That is it.
$20.
Because it's not a rare game. People can say what they want to say about it. It's not hard to find and it's not rare. They made a lot of Mega Man 2.
Oh no, it's Capcom.
It is, well,
it's not rare.
Oh, you're so funny. Please stop.
Would you say that's worth it, as if I even have to ask?
You don't have to ask.
No. 100% this game is worth it.
You had me at Mega Man 2.
This is a classic in every sense of the word.
It is 150% worth it. This game needs to be in your collection. Even if it was more, I would even say even if it was 30 or 40 bucks, this game has to be in your collection. It is a staple on the Nintendo. It is a staple of just all Nintendo systems.
Absolutely.
It is a staple of Capcom in general. It's got to be in your collection.
I would be surprised if someone has not played this game. If they've, like, around our age, in our age range.
I feel like everybody at, like, around our age range has at least played a Mega Man game. And I would say 80 to 90%, if they have played a Mega Man game, it's Mega Man 2.
This is one I feel like is almost on the same plane as, like, Legend of Zelda or Super Mario.
Oh, very much
Somewhere
so.
along the line,
You
have played a Mega Man game.
Yep.
And this, $20 is, oh, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely worth it.
Yep.
That's why the NES Classic is such a great fucking deal.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even just this game alone is $20.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Super Mario 3 is probably hovering around the $20.
15 or 20 bucks,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy
is
is
a $20 game.
Exactly. Just those 3 games fucking alone is $60.
It justifies the price of
Oh, yeah.
having the NES Classic Edition.
So, yeah,
$59.99.
if you own an NES, play this. You have to play this.
It's
a quintessential game
the NES. If you have a collection, you got to have this game in your collection. Like this, it was platforming at its finest.
Absolutely.
And this is the game, at least in my opinion. Sorry, all of you Mega Man 3 purists.
Lovers.
But Mega Man 2 is where they literally hit the stride. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and it was the pinnacle of the Mega Man series on the NES.
Yeah. Like you said before, they didn't try to change it.
No.
They took the formula they had and they built onto it.
They did.
And did it flying fucking colors.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
So there you go, guys. Mega Man 2. A 4 for difficulty is what we gave it?
4 for difficulty.
4 for difficulty. I gave a 9 for fun.
8 to 9, so it's high. It's high up there. It is high.
Absolutely worth it.
Yes, absolutely.
So hit us up on Facebook.
Hit us up on Twitter.
Go to powertripgaming.tv. Takes you right to the channel,
where you can watch all of our playthroughs, including Mega Man 2.
The link in the description will take you directly to the Mega Man 2 playlist, where our good buddy Tim joins us, as he's joined us for every Mega Man game.
He has, because he is our resident Mega Man expert. He knows everything. Everything about that Dr. Wily.
Dr. Wily.
Dr. Wily.
We gotta stop Dr. Wily, Mega Man. He nicknamed his dick the E-Tank. Because he will give you the energy. Next time on Power Trip Gaming Retrospective, we will review something better, because clearly he's having a fit. What? Actually, it's supposed to make more sense if he nicknamed it the Mega Buster. But... What? Tim, hit us up in a comment if that's actually what your dick is called.
I want to nickname my dick the E-Tank.
Oh,
you want some life? I'll fill you up.
I'll give you a life. Terrible. That's terrible. You give somebody a 1-up. Oh, man.
My God. Oh, if you want a 1-up.
Maybe you're going to get an extra life.
Maybe you're going to get an extra life inside you.
Good closing.